It was nighttime when Stanley reached Kicking Horse Pass on his way to a field at the bottom of the mountain. Somehow, Stanley felt very amazed with the Canadian countryside at night. But he was still nervous. Isn't it obvious that farmers are going to see a Santa Fe engine in CP territory? He asked his engineer. Don't worry about us, boy. We're just going to have to maintain our schedule. I hope so, driver. But as Stanley rode along the line, he could probably sense some Canadian National or Canadian Civic engines were going to take notice of him. However, it was lucky for Stanley that the passenger engine waiting at the signal didn't notice him. So Stanley just went by. Whew. Thank goodness that engine didn't see me. Maybe this run isn't so bad after all, said Stanley. Soon Stanley started to approach one of the spiral tunnels. He was hoping no one else would notice him. Stanley somehow passed by a Canadian National freight train that was waiting in the siding to enter the tunnel. But the freight engines were too busy waiting for the right-of-way to even notice Stanley. When the right-of-way was clear, the freight train started up the mountain again. Stanley, meanwhile, went on his way, heading to the other spiral tunnel. But further down the line, two CP diesels named Tucker and Fred were waiting at another siding for the signal to turn to green. Tucker was getting cross. Why can't I get the right-of-way? If I have to wait for another train to pass. I agree with you, Tucker. Hopefully we can get a clear signal so we can get this job done. Suddenly, they spotted Stanley coming down the line. Stanley was trying not to get too noticed, but it was already too late. Stanley drove right past him. Hey, what's that Santa Fe engine doing on our line? I don't know, Tucker, but he made us wait. Let's give him a taste of his own medicine by tomorrow morning. Good idea, Tucker. We'll show him. Meanwhile, Stanley was making good time on his way back to the yard. at field. Well, at least this run gives me high priority over other trains, he said to himself. Suddenly, Stanley remembered a friend of his who worked on CP. I wonder if Big Red is working tonight, he thought to himself. If I see him, I'll probably say hello to him. Meanwhile, at field, Big Red was waiting for his new crew to get on board so he can continue taking his train to Vancouver. He didn't know Stanley was coming down the mountain into the yard. But when Stanley rode into the yard, there was Big Red already waiting. Hey, Big Red, called Stanley. What's up, Stan? Replied Big Red. Stanley came to a stop in the yard. Big Red wanted to have a talk with Stanley, but the dispatcher call came in. A631, you are clear to proceed onto the main line. Roger that, dispatch, replied the engineer. Well, time to go, said Big Red. And then he left. Never mind, said Stanley. I'll see him first thing tomorrow morning. And he will.